Hey everybody, welcome back to Tim Travels. It's Terry, your host. Got Beatrice with me. She's kind of jumping around to take a look outside. She kind of supervises parking lot operations. Anyway, coming to you still in Wisconsin, and just wanted to do a video about something that's been kind of bugging me for a little while. So let me just say up front that my views and opinions are not the views of my company and or any other agents, servants, employees, or officers of the company. And this telecast is only used by the express written consent of Major League Baseball. No reproductions, descriptions, or photographs of this may be used without express written consent. Your results may vary. Do not attempt this at home, and past performance is no guarantee of future results. So, with that out of the way, a couple of little kind of follow-up things, housekeeping or whatever. So this month, and the reason I know this exactly is because I actually keep track of my fuel economy. I started at the beginning of every month. So for the month of March, and I didn't even run every day, but I ran 13,415 miles. And I averaged 7.4 miles per gallon, which matters mostly because they pay a fuel bonus, and I'll qualify for that. But it's just, I'm trying to train myself to, get better mileage. And I don't know, I kind of never believed in the your truck is getting broken in thing, because it's a machine, right? It's like, parts wear out. But I don't know if, as I've gotten to, and I'm basically at 105,000 miles on this truck now. I did a video a little bit ago about hitting 100K. So I don't know if that impacts the fuel economy, but I am the past few months, say 3 months, getting better fuel economy than I was earlier. Maybe it's just I've gotten more conscientious about getting better fuel economy, because I didn't qualify for the fuel bonus the first few months I was at GP Transco. So anyway, I think that's kind of cool. So what I wanted to talk about today is something that kind of bugs me, and that is all of the whiners and snowflakes that are truck drivers or claim to be truck drivers on the internet, and specifically on YouTube. So, nothing in life is guaranteed, and things aren't always going to go your way. But I find that a lot of people find the negative in everything. And and you see it on other people's channels. Somebody will say, "Oh, I'm doing really well doing this." And there would be like 10 comments. "No, you're not. Your company sucks. You must be miserable. You can't possibly be making that much money. You can't possibly be doing that well." And it's like, and so I've had a few people say that to me, like, "Oh, your company's a dumpster fire. You're a bootlicker. You're a lackey. They must be paying you good to say nice things about them." And I'm like, I'm 58 years old. Okay, I was a chief petty officer in the United States Navy, and then I practiced law for 16 years. I got no reason to say anything other than what I know to be the truth. And so I did a video a little while back about an episode of Trucking Answers, and I don't really want to get into the business of like responding to other people's videos, but it was about driver-facing cameras, and I have a driver-facing camera in my truck. Now, this is the second company in a row that I've worked for that's had driver-facing cameras. And the other company I worked for, it wasn't an option. You didn't have an option. And candidly, I didn't even find out about it till I got to orientation. But anyway, you know, the company I work for now, GP Transco, you don't have to have it uncovered. But if you elect to have it uncovered, you get paid extra. So anyway, some guy, and so that was, I don't know when that video was, a few weeks ago certainly, some guy named Adam Ingram posted a message last night on that video. And right out of the box, this is a verbatim quote, I wrote it down, and it's the very first thing he said to me. He said, I can counter everything you've ever said, and I can roast you on top of that. Okay, that's his first sentence. Now, let's be clear. I've said a hell of a lot of things in my life. He said everything I've ever said. You can ask my kids. I talk a lot, okay? So he was going to counter everything I've ever said, and then roast me on top of that. And I'm like, okay. And then he says, but it would be a waste of my time, end quote. And then guess what he does? 10 more times he puts a comment. 10 more times after he was going to roast me. But here's the funny thing. The last message he posted, he's like, well, I wasn't really bad-mouthing your company. I don't even know who you work for. I just thought you were being disrespectful to Mark, meaning Mark at Trucking Answers. And, you know, I've said in the past, I like Mark. Mark was influential in my decisions when I first came into the trucking industry. And I've commented on Mark's page. Mark provides lots of great information. I totally support a lot of the ideas and notions and opinions he has. But he's not right about everything. And when he's not, you know, I've said stuff. Commented on his page. But on this issue of driver-facing cameras, I just put out a video. And the other, you know, and I'll say this, not to put too fine a point on it, but Mark is often wrong when he talks about legal issues. But so are most people. You know, the law is one of those things where lots of people have a little bit of knowledge, and a little bit of knowledge can be dangerous sometimes. And Mark, like, you know, when he talks about legal stuff and court cases, he's often wrong. And, you know, I feel like I have the education and background to address those incorrect comments, because, you know, we're talking about our industry, right? So anyway, this Adam Ingram guy, you know, in some of his messages, he's like, well, I don't want a camera because what if I'm saying my bank account information and they can overhear it? And what about, you know, like, I don't want to be watched because I might have sex or intimate conversations. And I'm like, dude. And then I started thinking he's probably not even ever been in one of these trucks, because everybody knows that there are curtains in them. There are actually 2 layers of curtains that would cover my camera if I was really going to have sex with somebody, or, you know, an intimate conversation. But this points up a bigger part of what's going on. And, you know, I've said this before, unless you're in a union, you're an at-will employee. Employees who are at will have basically 0 rights at work other than for their own person, right? Like, your company cannot physically detain you, for example, right? That could be kidnapping or some other charge if they try to forcibly detain you. But your company, for instance, can search your locker at work without your consent. Why? Because it's on their facility. They can search you coming in their facility. They can search your vehicle if you're on their property. They don't need permission for any of that stuff. It's not protected by the Bill of Rights. Okay? The Bill of Rights only pertains to public institutions. So my company, for example, could say, hey, Terry, you need to shut down Tim Travels. And I would have to do one of two things. I would either have to comply or risk getting fired. Because they could fire, I mean, somebody could come here right now to this truck stop and fire me. Somebody with authority from the company. Okay? Same thing with the driver-facing camera. I don't care about it because, first of all, I'm not doing anything that I'm really worried about them seeing. But the other thing is, it's their truck. It's not my truck, right? I'm at work. You know, now if I say, oh, well, when I'm in the sleeper berth or off duty, you guys shouldn't be able to see me. Well, first of all, that's really not even how the camera works. The camera works off events. But suppose it for a moment, and I'm told it doesn't have any sound capability. But suppose it for a moment that I think it does. I could cover it up. I could be like, okay, it's my off-duty time. It's my sleeper berth time. I'll cover it up. In fact, I don't even have to go out of my way to cover this camera because it actually, the one thing I don't like about the camera is it impedes the visor. But if I put the visor down like I'm just doing right now, that camera can't see. It might be able to see me down here, but it can't see my face or whatever. And I know it can't see into the back with the visor down, you know? So I'm just kind of tired of hearing truckers talk about their rights and, you know, companies doing this and that. If you don't like a company, if you don't like what they're doing, go work somewhere else. And by the way, Mark has even said that. But here's the other thing. If you don't like my company, don't work at my company. But everybody does something for a reason. I happen to feel like my employer is fair to me, and my employer treats me with, I guess, respect. Although I'm not a big, you know, the whole concept of respect to me is kind of overblown. In part because, you know, how many times have you heard about people being killed because somebody was disrespected? You know, it's like, you know, get over yourself. But my company pays me. They pay me what they say they're going to pay me. And that's the deal that I made. You know, but I'm under no illusions. I could leave my company tomorrow if I wanted to. But they could fire me tomorrow if they wanted to. You know, that's just how it works. Now, if you want more rights in the workplace, what should you do? Well, saying that it's in the Constitution is not going to work. But people that have rights at work, have due process, can't just be fired for the hell of it. They use these things to get those rights called labor unions. So there are a lot of people that I'm sure in the trucking industry that I'm very sure support the political party that is least likely to support unions, that has gone out of its way to destroy unions in both the public and private sector. But it turns out that if you want any rights at work, and by the way, right to work is the invention of that party. Okay? Right to work states. So if you want to have rights at work, you want to have due process, you want to have grievance procedures, etc., you better get in a labor union. If you don't have a union where you work, go work at a place that does have a union, like UPS. Or I think, who else has a union? ABF has a union. But if you don't want to be in a union, you don't want to pay union dues, you don't want to, you know, be a part of that, that's fine. But don't complain about somebody taking your rights away, because you never had those rights to begin with. And you were fooling yourself if you thought you did. So in short, and to review, you could be fired by a company for what you say. You could be fired for what you do on or in their property. You could be fired for no reason at all. Okay? You're an at-will employee. So if you want to come on anybody's YouTube channel, not just mine, anybody's, and complain about their company, you know, why? If you don't work for that company, why do you care? That's the first. It would have been like when I was in the Navy, me complaining about the Air Force. Oh, you're in the Air Force? You're so stupid, man. They buy their uniforms at Sears. Why do you want to dress like a bus driver? All they do is build golf courses and ceramic workshops and then fly around a little bit. Why do you want to be in the Air Force? I mean, why would I care if somebody wanted to do that? And why do you? Well, you know, I think there are just some people that like being unhappy and like complaining and oh, by the way, the people that have badmouthed my company, every time I ask them where they work, they're like, oh, I'm not going to give you that information. I'm like, really? Well, you're saying you're just killing it. You're just doing so awesome that, you know, old Adam Ingram there, he doesn't want to tell me where he works, because if we keep that information secret, because we don't want to hire other people, because then our good pay would go out the window. By the way, he takes home exactly $1,600 a week. That's what he said. I'm throwing the bullshit flag on that. But anyway, you know, subscribe, like, comment, and by the way, I don't block anybody either. You can, if you got it, bring it. But don't expect to come on my channel and make comments that are bullshit and not get some pushback, you know? And I'm happy to debate anybody. I'll come on YouTube and debate you. If I take a position, I can support it with facts. So if you want to take a position and you know what you're talking about, then back it up. I'm more than happy to have the dialogue, and I actually enjoy it, if you can't tell. So anyway, stay safe. I'll see you next time, and we'll keep you updated. Take care.